The jury came back and told the judge this morning that they could not reach a consensus on those 3 charges of sexual assault. And it appears they seem to be wrestling with the question about the key night in this trial that this trial really revolves around. And that's the night back in January 2004 that Canadian Andrea Constand says her friend and mentor Bill Cosby invited her over to his home and that he offered her pills that rendered her incapacitated and that he sexually assaulted her. Cosby and his defense team gave a very different portrayal of that night. They said that Constand and Cosby were romantically involved and that while Cosby did give her pills, that they were simply Benadryl and that she took them willingly. And so the jury is trying to figure out what exactly is the truth, and to do that, in the time that they've been deliberating, more than 30 hours, they've gone back and looked over some of the testimony related to that specific night. So they've heard what Constand told them again during the trial. They've also looked back at what Constand said to police back in 2005. They've also gone back and looked at what Cosby said to police and during a deposition more than a decade ago, because Cosby himself did not testify during this trial. And so while they're wrestling with all of this information, it appears there may be a couple of holdouts that they're trying to convince one way or the other. We don't obviously know what's going on in the room, but the judge, as you said, did tell them to go back to work, and that's what they're doing right now.
And it's also a highly emotional scene outside of the courthouse. What's happening there?
Well, we know that Andrea Constand's case was the only one out of the dozens of women who accused Cosby of sexual assault of actually going to trial. But some of those women are in the court. And when they heard the jury was deadlocked this morning, they left in tears. And outside the courthouse, on the steps of the courthouse, there were supporters of Cosby. And then there are these women who have accused him of sexual assault. The two came together at points today. Let's listen to a little bit of those exchanges.
As God is my witness. As God is my witness. I love my God. It did happen to me. It did happen to me. It hurts me to see a blind man going to go to prison for 30 years.
One of the women there is Lily Bernard, an actress who has accused Cosby of sexual assault, talking about her own experience with the actor. And then you saw a woman at the end there yelling back at her, saying, well, why didn't you come forward more quickly, sooner? So that's what we saw in front of the courthouse between these two camps. And what we heard from Cosby's people is that he's in pretty good spirits. They see this as a vindication, saying that Cosby is getting justice. But on the other hand, you have lawyer Gloria Allred, who represents some of those other accusers, saying that this isn't over, that it's not uncommon for juries to say that they are deadlocked and for judges to order them to get back to work. She's still holding out hope that there could still be a guilty verdict. But after all of this time, it's really anybody's guess what could happen next. And as I said, the jury is still deliberating. The judge hasn't given them a time frame, said he'll let them work as long as they need to figure out a verdict in this case.